Come to the show. We about to chop it up. Come to the show. We got some things we can talk about. Come to the show. We about to chop it up. Come to the show. We got some things we can talk about. Chop it up. Chop it. Chop it. Chop it. Chop it up. Chop it. We got some things we can talk about. Chop it up. Chop it. Chop it. Chop it up. Chop it up. Chop it. We got some things we can talk about.
You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop with your host, Pastor Marvin McKinstry Jr. Let's chop it up.
Let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Welcome to the Chop Shop. I'm your host, Pastor Marvin McKinstry Jr. Excited again that God gives us this privilege to be able to come to you to give you content concerning Baltimore, the kingdom of God. It all intersects here on the Chop Shop. Before I do anything else, I gotta say I am so grateful that I have the dopest producer in all of podcasting. My right hand, my left hand, my main man, Mr. Shaka Pitts, on the ones and twos. Shock, I really get excited about these shows. We right here a week before Thanksgiving, man, and it's our time to talk about giving thanks and the positive and the good things. Man, I'm just excited, man.
It's a good time of the year, man. For me, I like this time of the year, man. I know some people get depressed, during this time, but for me, this is a time for connection and resetting. So, I like this time of the year, brother.
I'm in an incredible mood, man. I was kind of just thinking, what would it be like without my mom for the first time? But man, I'm inspired. My aunt wants me and my brother to get in here to cook, and we gonna celebrate and feast just like she's right here at the table. Y'all be praying for us because we know it's gonna be a little bit of difficulty trying to get through that process. But guess what, man? We are healing, and God is still on our side.
Amen, brother. Amen.
So this is what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to begin right now to like, love, and share this broadcast. This broadcast is not going to be like your typical Chop Shop broadcast. It is going to be about the good things. That's right. Tonight we are partnered with my family. I can't even say my brothers because I'm a part of the movement, the We Are Us Men's movement, to bring you changing the narrative of community conversation. And listen, y'all, if you have not been hearing how we've been hearing about our young people who are in trouble, who are getting hurt in gun violence, who are committing gun violence, this whole squeegee thing that we hear so much about. And yet, nobody's talking about the positive things that are happening. Well, guess what? That's who we are. The We Are Us Men's movement, the Chop Shop, Pastor Marv. We are changing to the narrative. And tonight, we need you to share this broadcast. We want to reach as many people as we can. Look, I even need you to begin to type names in the comment section so it'll draw people here. I need y'all to put up all the hearts, put up all the thumbs up. I want you to send Facebook's algorithm crazy tonight, because the more you do that, the more people on your friends list will be alerted that we're live. And we want to make sure that we have a fire-packed, fire-filled show tonight. And we have some of the generals of goodness, I said it, of goodness on the show tonight. I got a lineup that's incredible, and I'm excited. And listen, I told you it's not the regular show. We're going to jump right in and get right to our guests. So the first one that I want to bring up is the executive director, one of my brothers who I've stood 10 toes down in these streets with and done great work. He's the executive director of the We Are Us Men's movement, and he's the captain of Muhammad Mosque number 6. That's right, the Baltimore extension of Minister Farrakhan's great work in our country, the one and only brother Captain Andrew Knox. Cap, what's up, man?
Man, how you feeling, Pastor, man? It's
Man,
an honor to be back, man. Thank you for having us, bro.
Man, I'm excited to be here, man, and I thank you for you guys being so forward thinking in the vision, because I think around this time last year, I reached out to you guys and said, hey, man, let's talk about the good stuff. So this is I guess y'all can call it our holiday edition, but it's excited, and I'm excited because we got a lot of good things to report tonight.
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely, man. And this is truly an honor, because we never hear about the good things that we're doing, particularly the stuff behind the scenes and the stuff with our young people, man. So this is very important to us.
And if my friend, big brother, and Pastor Antoine Burton were on here, he would say, I got to now bring on the screen our greatest supporter, our number one supporter in the We Are Us Men's movement, our great partner from the Mayor's Office of African American Male Engagement, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, mentor to many, and guide, counselor, teacher, and leader to so many more, Dr. Andre Bunley. Thank you for being with us tonight, Doc.
100% up to you, Marvin. So thankful for you and your steadfast vision to do what's good and to do what's right. Just so I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be here amongst great people tonight.
Listen, the We Are Us Men's movement are great men who all have great queens in their household. But if I was to say we was to have a queen of the men's movement, it would be this sister, one of the most diligent sisters that I've ever seen when it comes down to the work that's about transforming lives. Her testimony is incredible. The violence touched her in a personal way, and the way that she began to lament and to fight back is to make sure that she stays 10 toes down in the community. She is the pastor of the New Solid Rock Pentecostal Church, and she is the leader of We Are Us Women. I'm talking about the one and only, my friend, Pastor Ebony Harvin. Pastor Ebony, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? I'm excited.
Me too. It's been a while since I had you on, and I'm super excited that you're here.
I'm excited. It's just with great and powerful leaders. You know, it's let's just make it happen.
Awesome. All right, y'all. And this next brother that I got to bring on here is one of my friends and my brothers. I always tell people, if you was to look up "Say It With Your Chest" in the encyclopedia, it would be a picture of him right there. This man is the bugle blower, the mass sound, the horn, the trumpet of We Are Us, and one of the great leaders of the mentorship work that's happening through the We Are Us Men's movement. He's present right now in Moaim doing some work around job development. Man, this brother retired just so that he could be full-time working in our community, helping to save lives. I'm talking about the one and the only leader of the men of the Church of the Redeemed of the Lord, Dr. Rodell Hall. What's up, Doc?
Hey, Pastor, how you doing? It's an
Doc,
honor to be here with this group. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you breaking up a little bit, and you sitting over there looking like a tinted window.
Is that better?
Yeah, your sound got a little better. Turn your phone to the side to get rid of them placards on the side, and we'll get a full picture of you. Yeah, man. There you go. We got the full view now. How you doing, Doc?
All righty. It's great to see everybody, man. And I'm just honored to be a part of such great people, man. You know, you don't take it for granted when you have people with like minds doing the same thing. It's awesome to be a part of that. So I just kudos to everybody on the line tonight.
That's awesome. And this last but certainly not least brother that I want to bring onto the screen, Brother Dewan. He's one of the great men that's making things happen in and around the city of Baltimore. And I'm excited that we got him on the show with us too. Brother Dewan, what's going on, good man?
How you doing, man? How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. Y'all, listen, tonight is about changing the narrative. It's about having conversation to bring perspective to the other side of the story, the side that's not sexy enough for Fox News or these other outlets to tell. We have got to own our own narrative and be able to tell our own story. So we're going to do it tonight. And I need y'all again, share this broadcast. Hit those hearts, get it up, get it ringing out. If you want to be able to comment, go to the Marvin McKinstry Jr. page, put your comments and questions on there. We'll be able to get them up on the screen so you can be a part of the broadcast. But tonight we're going to have the conversation about the great things that are happening. And I know I did some introduction and gave some accolades, but the first thing that I want to do is I want to give each of my guests an opportunity to introduce themselves and to tell you a little bit about their commitment. And even though I brought Cap on first, this time we're going to yield to the queen herself. Pastor Ebony, won't you kick us off? Tell us a little bit about, get the people know who you are and why you're so passionate about this work.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm Pastor Ebony, part of the great movement, the We Are Us. When I say that, I'll say that all of us on this line is at your service. You know, whatever the city need, we hear. I'm just telling you just some things about myself. I've been doing this for 25 years. Truly a little longer than years, just doing whatever I can to help our young people, let them know that it's hope. It's not where you live, it's how you live. Just truly going after the head. And I said, if I can go after the head, the body would fall. So my passion is truly going after our young people and letting them know that it's so much more to live for. So as I mentioned, 26 years, 26 plus, I've been rocking and rolling in our city. And, this thing is not going to stop until I expire. So
I thought you was 26 years old. Cat, talk to the people, man. Tell the people a little bit more. Take them a little deeper into understanding who this Captain Andrew guy is, who's known by so many, man, for the great work that you do and being the leader of such a strong army out of Muhammad Mosque number 6.
Man, it's so much to say, Pastor, but I'll just say that, I'm personally not finished, and I'm honored to know yourself, Dr. Bunley, Dr. Hall, Pastor Ebony, Brother Dewan. I'm honored to know the great leaders, Pastor Burton, Bishop Elliott, Bishop Johnson. I mean, the list goes on, Bishop Watts. So I think it's the men that make me want to be greater and better in God's eyesight. So I think the circle that we established, and we're going into our 5th year, and it's been a tough 5 years for us. But it's the people, I believe, that helps make me to want to be better and greater. Of course, God is the foundation, and I have to give credit to the man who saved my life, and I have to say it because that's who helped me out in the prison cell 27 years ago, which is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he's my minister, my leader, and my God. But, in Baltimore City, my student minister, Brother Abdul Salam Muhammad, and then the We Are Us, man, they family. The pastors, the unity, I believe is the strongest thing we have in this city, and we're exercising it. And I can't say it enough. I'm honored to be amongst the great bishops and pastors and leaders that's amongst this movement, men and women.
This next preacher who I'm about to bring on traded in his pulpit in the schools of Baltimore City for the pulpits of the street corner. And if you ever get to hear this man speak, you're going to be motivated and excited. And I'm thankful right now that he's motivating and exciting people around the work that needs to happen in Baltimore to bring about real change. The director of the Mayor's Office of African American Male Engagement, Dr. Andre Bunley. What's up, Doc? Talk to the people.
Man, I'm just so honored to be here with you all. We just have so much to do. It seems now the more and more that we do, I have less to say because the work is speaking for us, right? And so I don't have a whole lot to say. I just know that Baltimore is better off because of all the individuals on this call, and then some of those who are not on this call, because of the very intentional behavior, the consistent behavior of individuals. We just need an example, and we need multiple examples moving and at the same time to the same cadence. So I'm just excited to be here. Just look forward to continuing to do work, to continue to study, to continue to take the notes as to the progress that we've made and the things that we need to move forward, and the things that we've learned that are not necessarily what we thought they might be, and therefore we discard those things. So I'm excited again. And Marvin, just to say and focus on you, you've focused on those of us on this call. Man, let me just thank you for just your growth. I just see your continuous growth. Not that I'm eyeballing you or spying on you, but it's right there in front of me, and I get a chance to see an earlier Marvin and a later Marvin, and I just can't wait for the later Marvin. So continue to do what you're doing, champ.
Thank you so much for that, Doc. You're a fixture in my testimony, and I'm honored to be able to say that tonight. Dr. Rodell Hall, what is there to not say about this great man who we go way back 25 years ago, traveling up and down the highways, making music for the Lord. I've always understood his passion for God and for spreading the gospel. And I came later to know his passion for men in the church and to see how it's translated over to be your passion for men in the city of Baltimore and our young people, man. I'm honored to call you my friend and my brother. Dr. Hall, talk to the people.
Yes. First, I'd like to say good evening to everybody. I'm a retired letter carrier, 38 years. I've been a mentor. I've been a mentor for 30. And it's just an honor to be a part of this group, to be able to reach young men and guide them in the right direction. Because at the end of the day, Dr. Bundley tells us all the time, there's one thing that everybody in the earth has in common, and that's that we're imperfect. And so we want to teach our young men to become great young men. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's how you move forward, it's how you plan, it's how you strategically put things together in your life so that you become a great young man. And so the Way I Was Life Coach program is all about just pouring into our young men and allowing them to become great.
Brother DeJuan,
Yes,
man, I'm so excited to have you here with us tonight, along with this cadre of great people that's doing great things in Baltimore. Talk to the people of the city of Baltimore, man, and tell them a little bit about yourself and about your passion for this great work.
man, I'm a young man from Chai Hill. I'm also Baltimore. I grew up in Chai Hill, 20, almost 30 years. You know, around the recreation centers, and Abby is my godmother. You know, Pastor Abby is my Harvard is my godmother, and you know, grew up making mistakes just like a lot of these kids are doing now today, and you know, I just made a change. You know, went through some hardships. You know, I ain't gonna lie. I got smashed by a truck. Started my first job for the city 10 years ago, probably 11 years ago now. And, you know, that probably would have made anybody stop, you know what I mean? And I kept going, you know, I went back out in the streets for a little bit. And then I had a homeboy, you know, that shared with me, you know, came knocking on my door. My arm was messed up at the time. He was like, you know, why you don't think about going to Job Corps? Because he was in Job Corps. So I wound up going to Job Corps. Went to Job Corps for about a year, almost 2 years. Got my first car and Job Corps. Received a trade. Got my license in there. You know, they paid for everything because that's the type of program that it was. And I just ain't looked back. You know, I got out of Job Corps. I had a job working at Under Armour for a couple years, and I worked in the shipping department. So as I was working in the shipping department at Under Armour for about 5 to 6 years, I kind of talked to the drivers. Recently, probably like 5 years ago now, I received my CDL. So, you know, I just feel as though, you know, if I can make it, anybody can make it. You just gotta, you know, stay focused, have a good support system, you know.
Man, those are the kinds of testimonies that motivate me. I was telling somebody today as we had the big job fair, the very first time that I walked into the mayor's office of employment development, I went in as a young father, single father, looking for help. And here I am 21 years later. I got way more than the help that I was seeking, which was to be in a program so I could get my TCA check. I wound up getting a full career out of it. And so much about this work is about that testimony, that turnaround, that I once was lost, but now I'm found. And Cap, I want to throw this question at you, man. There are so many brothers who are doing this work that when you see them doing this work, hey, we got the job fair up there. So many brothers that you see doing this work are people who have been in that lost state or that lost condition, and they turn their life around to that positive place. Talk to the people a little bit about your testimony and coming, because I know you said that 27 years ago in prison you heard the message of the minister and they put you on the straight path. But talk to the people a little bit about that coming from there to here.
Man, I need to write the book, Pastor.
Me too.
But I'll just say, you know, I think that for myself, you know, the turning point for me was I was into my 4th year of a 10-year no parole sentence, and 2 of the brothers had gotten into a fight. I was still in the streets. I was still in the prison, and I had the street mentality. And I basically watched him get, you know, he got stabbed up real bad. And then I wind up feeding him, you know, inside of the unit. and because the wound was so bad, they had to put him together with staples. And because he couldn't put no clothes around it, I was able to see it. And when I took him his tray, it broke me down because I knew that I wasn't in the business of hurting my brother. And even when I was in the streets, I wasn't violent. I always tried to avoid that. And that was my wake-up call that I needed to change my life. And my foundation has always been, the Black church. That's why I get along so well with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody can take that from me. Nobody. It will never be. My mother planted it so well in me, and my aunt and my grandfather, that I love the Black church. I love the Black preacher. I love the Black bishop. It's just, and that's me. Nobody can take that from me, right? So, basically, I needed some structure and discipline. And at the time, Reverend Brubaker, God bless his soul, he was a white pastor, great man inside the prison. I was going to church every Sunday and Wednesday. He just couldn't do anything with me. That's all for me. But if I had Dr. Hall in there, if I had Pastor Marvin in there, if I had Pastor Ebony in there, I'd still be going to the Black church. That's just facts. You can take it or leave it. But the nation really put the discipline and the structure in me, and it taught me how to love Black people even more. And I just don't believe in hurting my brother or sister. I was never a violent person. That's why I believe I do so much work, because I love helping people, right? No matter what condition they in, I love helping people. And my mother put that in me, of course, through God. And that was my saving grace right there. Everything else is history, and I'm just exercising it, right now in the streets, in the prisons, in the juvenile facilities, and what I love, I think you mentioned it, Dr. Hall. Doc really helped me out with this when we talk about the imperfectness of us. I'm way better than I used to be 30 years ago.
Yes, God.
That man, I don't never want to see again. I don't never want to see that man. So if I compare that man to this man, I'm damn near perfect, right? So, and then I'll say this last thing, Pastor Marvin, and I said it earlier, but I don't think we understand the importance of being around other great men like yourself, like Dr. Hall, like Dr. Bunley, like Pastor Burton, like Bishop Elliott, Pastor Corey. When we're around other great men like that, it inspires the hell out of me to want to do even more. So I benefit from being around men. I don't have to keep reading books. I can study you all. You are great. Y'all great men. Sites. We don't even, to be honest with you, the media has did an excellent job in discrediting the Black man. I'm telling you right now, and it's almost like we can't do no good.
Speak facts.
It's like we can't do no good. So thank God for Let's Chop It Up. Thank God for this program, bro. And we really are striving to change the narrative, and it's coming through brothers like you and Shaka.
I wanna go over the Dr. Hall, because we're talking about changing the narrative, and Doc, that work that you're doing in the mentoring and life coaching space is some of the work that I've not had as much opportunity to participate in as some of the other We Are Us work. But it's the work that I'm most excited about. I learned from the brothers, the young brothers in the We Are Us movement. A youthless movement is a useless movement. So talk to us, because we're here to talk about changing the narrative. Talk to us about some of that great work that's happening in and around life coaching. I think you're muted. No audio. You unmuted, but I don't have you. We might have to get you to jump out and jump back in. Let me go over to you, Dr. Bunley. I remember a cold afternoon. I believe it was in February, about 3-4 years ago. And we came out of St. Peter Claver Church, walked down walked down Pennsylvania Avenue to Pennsylvania and Lawrence, all up in that little corridor. And it was freezing cold. Freezing cold. And here we sit 3 years, going on 4 years later. And, to hear echo over and over again, your many cadences, but the one of my favorite is that light and darkness can't occupy the same space. And we're here to talk about changing the narrative and the positive side of things. Talk to us about going from that day where it was me, you, some FOI, and a few other people that cared, to now being 3 years into this work and many of the great things that you've seen become the fruit of this work.
Well, Caps just said something that's very, very powerful, and that and included all of us in, I think, a live book, and so you just talked about and named people who were there, Marvin, and you were able to explain exactly who was there and what happened, because what we did on that night and what we continue to do are to be live books. When you have a live book, when you have an example, if people can comprehend it really, really well, they can see you demonstrate certain behaviors. If they had a test to the book that they read, that live book, they're going to pass the test at 100% because they're able to actually bear witness to what was said, to bear witness to what was done. And so that's what we want to continue to do. And that's why we have the gravitational pull that we're having, because people rather see a sermon than hear one any day.
That's
right?
it.
And so I'm just so thankful that we have men and women such as Sister Ebony and the other sisters who support the movement. I'm just so glad that we have people who have that spirit of intentionality, that spirit of consistency. I am really excited. I've been blessed to be a part of the Nation of Islam for 30 years. While Cat was in prison, I was at Muhammad Mosque number 6 with Minister Jamil. Right. And so I'm so thankful, because I really wanted to learn and I really wanted to do the work that we're doing right now today. And I have been blessed to read and watch the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and as he worked with Black men who were in dire straits and have helped these Black men to believe, to go right to the gutter and get them and clean them up. And I was like, man, that is so powerful. That was a sermon that I couldn't read. I'm glad that I actually witnessed Black men being cleaned up by a man with a 4th grade education. And so now when we look at Baltimore, if you all don't know, building on what we've learned for those who have focused on Black people, but Black men in particular, the Nation of Islam, when you look at this thing that we're focusing on now, that is that we're going to do away with murder. And we believe that. And I love, Marvin, that you believe it, because now when we look down there, right in the area where your church is, right in the area where you're doing a whole lot of work, we're starting to see, not because of any individual, but because of collective group of committed people, people are not dying down in Po homes the way they were, because we have an intentional focus on what needs to happen. And it's our collaborative spirit that's making this happen. And I see today where Black men are not going to kill Black men. Because if you really look at it in Baltimore, and it's not Black on Black crime, but it's the Black facts, that if Black men stop killing Black men in Baltimore, Black men will stop dying in Baltimore. That's a fact. So we just got to continue to do what we're doing. And I think it's less the programmatic stuff, and it's more the specialized people stuff who are taking their special gifts, but not being messianic with their gifts, but sharing their gifts with other people who have specialties or specialist skills. And all of these specialists coming together, that's what's making the difference. And we got to continue to push this notion of collaboration. Like we're going to see a change in our shutdown with this, because of collaboration of people in Baltimore, that we have now made some progress with those youth who have been forced to take care of basic needs by cleaning and washing windshields. You will see very soon because of collaborative work. For everybody, Mayor, you, Marvin, all of the people, everybody on this call, that those youngsters are going to feel that they don't have the need to go out there and put themselves in dire straits, hook school or abort school, all of that stuff, because of our collaborative spirit. The people from downtown, Black people, white people, all of us coming together are going to make the difference. That collaborative spirit is going to work. People who have specialized with certain talents, but thinking not robbery to share that talent with other people and give other people credit and encouragement because of that work. That's why we're winning, Marvin. And so again, I want to thank you for just continuing to help us change the narrative by being a Black man that's unapologetically Black and unashamedly Christian. I thank you for being that. I thank you for being that and then raising the consciousness of those in your space.
Well, I thank you for that, Doc. I want to swing down here to Pastor Ebony. Pastor, as an urban theologian, I'm one of those people that get called because I speak the language of the people in those spaces where tragedy has happened, where there's a Black man who has been murdered, a Black woman who has been murdered. And one of the things that breaks my heart in those spaces is when I have to deal with that mother. Your testimony as one who have been directly impacted, and yet you've turned your pain into something that will fuel your passion, and you've put yourself in a space to where you get to minister to these mothers. Talk to us about what it's like to come from that place of your pain, but now to see the positive fruit as you're helping out mothers and other women to help them to understand that they can live through this.
Well, first of all, I give all honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus, because I tell you, it's not easy. Even what I experience, and I still have my days, but God. And I tell and I encourage any mothers that I engage with, that if you're not spiritually connected, you would lose it, But I thank God for the space that I am in today, because 4 years ago I was lost. I was just existing. And when I'm able to just go out and talk to some of the mothers, I'm more of, I place myself, I was there 4 years ago. So here it is, I'm going to be your ear. I'm going to love on you I love the hell out of you, and I would say this, that I'm dealing with a situation of a mother that just lost her son throughout this past weekend. And people that are not spiritually connected, they want to take their lives. And I thank God for the foundation. I thank God, as Cap, Doc, all I'm saying, for the Black churches, because one thing that I do know how to do is to stay prayed up. And I thank God that when I experienced what I experienced, if it wasn't for God on my side, no telling where I would have been, like mentally messed up. So what I did, I turned, as you mentioned, the pain, I turned that pain into my purpose. And now my goal is to let another mother know that, guess what? It's not going to be easy. Yes, this thing is like a tape recorder. You keep hitting the rewind button and the play, but through time, staying connected to the right people. I thank God for the We Are Us. I thank God for you, Pastor Marvin. When I say that the We Are Us, the movement, gave me that extra strength. And first and foremost, I thank God for one of the greatest churches ever, New Solid Rock. Let me give my church some credit. Amen. Amen. I'm here right. Okay. Yes. Let me give that. Yeah. And I thank God for my great overseer and bishop, and just being there, being that support system. Because I tell you, when you lose a child, you need a support system. You need it, because if not, you're going to lose your mind. One thing that I respect about the brothers and the sisters that I work with the We Are Us, I don't care if it's east, west, north. We try to do whatever we can to go out there and love on that family, letting them know that, guess what, we here. We may not have millions of dollars right now, but whatever we can help you with, we here. And it has been a blessing for the amount of moms and dads that, God have sent my way, that I was just able to be their ear, be their support system, give them an encouraging word, and letting them know that, guess what, I don't understand. I don't care if you lose a child. Guess what? Everybody love different. But what I am going to tell you, through time, just let the time take its course. And, and so far, God has been truly, when I say truly using me in this season, in the midst of my pain, to help somebody through their pain.
Well, that's what we're here to talk about, changing the narrative. You on live with the Chop Shop special edition. We're partnered with the We Are Us Men's movement to bring you changing the narrative, a community conversation where we're hearing about how pain can be turned into purpose and how lives are changing as a result of the life-changing work that's happening with the We Are Us Men's movement. Dr. Hall, I do want to come on to you now that we got you back and we got your audio straight, because a lot of people hear us constantly pounding home the narrative: black male, black man, black name, black woman, black family, and a critical part of the black family to make sure that there's generational successes to touch the young people. And you are directly involved in that work. Talk to us about the positive work that's happening in the life coaching and mentoring programs.
Well, we've been together now working on 2 years, and to see the young men when they came through the doors, having no answer, no hope, no peace, no fathers, and discouraged, and so we learned over the years that we meet them where they are. We don't try to bring them up to us. We meet them where they are and we walk up together, and so we had one young man that his father had just came home from prison. He never got to interact with his dad because he was a baby when his dad went in prison. And so he's 16 now, well, 17 now. And his father came home, had an opportunity to come together over at the Alva Rec Center with the Baltimore Brothers and the We Are Us life coaches. And we got a chance to interact with him. And he told his son, "I'm so proud of you that you didn't go down the road that I went down." And 2 weeks later, his father was murdered. And that young man now, he's a senior in high school. He has a part-time job. He just went to his junior prom last year, and he's already working on getting a car. We're helping him with that. We bought him a bike and put the bike together for him, and he hasn't missed a beat, even though he doesn't have his dad. And that's what the life coaching is all about, is filling that void. So it's all about consistency and just meeting them where they are and letting them know, no matter what you're going through, we're going to be there with you, and we're not going to give up on you.
That's a critical element that you just talked about, and I want to swing this over to Dr. Bunley because he talks about it all the time. I've had two critical losses in my life, two critical transitions in my life since being a part of this work. I remember what it was like to have to, in December 2019, after losing my grandfather, take some time to focus on my family and making my day of return the day we put 1,000 men on Martin Luther King Boulevard for the Martin Luther King parade. And then everybody knows recently losing my queen, but being able to come back because of the consistency of men. Doc, while we're talking about the positive aspects of things, talk about what it's like for men that have withstood a pandemic, men that have had to deal with personal tragedy, to have a brotherhood that has stood sometimes in our absence and still continue to make sure that this work has happened, regardless as to what may have come over the last 3 years.
Yeah, Marvin, you actually talked about it one night down in Brooklyn. We were down in Brooklyn, but it's this opportunity to have this faith, this actionable faith. Like, that things that you can't see will be because of this faith that we have. And so we always say that we are thankful for the men who show up when the other men who might be absent, because we do that for each other. We show up, even if we show up in shifts, we commend the individuals who show up at the times that they show up, because if they didn't show up consistently, then those who are absent wouldn't have anything to come back to once they return. And so that's those people we got this faith in shifts for each other, if you will, right? And again, that's one of the things that I'm excited about the movement. We were intentional, and you took what we talked about, the words, and you gave us the logo. A lot of people don't know that Pastor Marvin actually took the logo and ran with the logo. But I remember us having the conversation, Cap and I, and we had an intentional conversation about what the name of the movement would be. And it became We, Our, Us, because we knew through our studies and through our observation of history that people default to me, my, I. Dr. King talked about it in a lot of his speeches. He said that we have this drum major instinct that we have to push down. And because we have been able to push down that drum major, because you think about the drum major is the loudest. The drum major is out front. The drum major has to be seen. And Dr. King talked about this instinct that we just have. And he said all of us want to be lovely to love. But we have to push down this me, my, I, and forego that for we, our, us. And that's what we're doing. And I just love it in action, because nobody can ever say that we, our, us is not about his business, because we're into our 5th year and it ain't about Marvin McKinstry, how wonderfully great and talented he is. It's not about Andrew Muhammad, who has some skills that others do not have. It's not about Pastor Ebony exclusively, right? This we, our, us thing is real, and that collaborative work to be able to push down and yourself and lift other people up, that's it. And that's why we're here, Marvin. That's how we work through the pandemic, etc. Because we, our, us is being manifested in the flesh every day, and it's for real. You know, I'm glad that we're keeping it 100 with what we're doing and our yielding to each other. So I think that's it, why we are still here.
One of the elements of sustainability, Doc, that I've come to learn as a young leader, as a young pastor, I've been leading in other spaces for a longer time, but this thing is teaching me that you build systems, because systems outlast people. And I got to swing this one over to Captain Andrew, because not everybody can lead men. And whether it's Baltimore Brothers, whether it's Muhammad Mas number 6 as the captain of the Fruit of Islam, you've brought that passion and that ability to lead men to the We Are Us men's movement. Talk to the people a little bit about what it takes to really be able to organize and to lead men. I, as a pastor, want to glean as much as I can from that, because I don't want to be the next church that don't have no men in it. You get what I'm saying? And it's critical that if our community is going to be saved, it's going to be saved partially through the reestablishing of the man in the household, in the community, in the faith space. And man, you have a gift, a God-given gift to organize and to lead men. Talk to the people about that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pastor, for that. You know, first I have to give credit, you know, to God first and foremost, because I know it ain't come from me. I know that for a fact. Yeah, you know, I would be foolish. I think only a fool would try to take credit and say, I'm self-made, I'm my own leader. All this stuff came from me. So I always try to revert back to the verse where you know, show me a man with faith and I'll show you a man with works.
Jesus. Amen.
Because I mean, I think the work for me dictates my faith. And I've been consistent because of my faith. It hasn't been because of me. You know, I truly believe in what I'm doing. I truly believe in that. You know, I have no doubt that following the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I mean, he made it clear. I mean, if you just go back to the 1995 Million Man March, and then you look back at the mall, it was 85% Christians, you know, and he crisscrossed America going to churches, man. He didn't go to mosques, he went to churches. He knew where the black men was at. The black men was inside the churches. He knew what he was doing, but somebody taught him as well. So I learned from him. And you know, as far as organizing, strategizing, and having a blueprint, because I needed to see something in order for me to do what I'm doing now, and more importantly, study it. You know, but I think the bottom line is, if you don't have love in your heart for your brother, you won't have no success when you talk about organizing, strategizing, and being a leader of men or trying to move men. You gotta first love the man, love that brother first, like genuinely, sincerely, without a motive. And the beauty of this movement is, and you notice yourself, Pastor, you was right there in the beginning, Pastor Marvin. We started off with zero. We didn't have no money, 4 years without 1 cent. Now that we starting to get a few dollars, I mean, it really doesn't mean anything to the level. Like the foundation was love.
That's it.
So, love, man. So I think a leader leads from the front. He want to be in the front. He gonna set the example of what needs to happen, and he not worrying about if he got 1 man or 100 men.
Come on.
He have purpose. He have vision, and more importantly, he have faith.
That's it.
And I think consistency. Just understand consistency. Yeah, it breeds success, but it has to be continuous.
What you just spoke about is a conversation of diversity, and it's a perfect segue as I swing back to Pastor Ebony, because you know the violence had been looked at, gun violence specifically, as a black male problem, and many people believe that it was going to take black men to be the solution. But one of the things I love about the We Are Us Men's movement is the We Are Us Men's movement didn't stop there. Black men came together and began to do this work. And one of the things that took place beyond that is the realization that the women in Baltimore have literally held it down while black men were trying to figure out how to come together. And when the call went out and there was a time for our sisters to be able to come into the spaces where they came in, you are a phenomenal leader, Pastor Ebony, to me, because one of the things that you do is you humbly come into the spaces where you're needed, and have not made it a point to change the focus of black men leading this movement to save black men. But talk to us about that diversity, where the men's movement, it's literally Unity Engagement Men's Movement, needed our sisters, and you've literally become the person that has stepped in and made sure that organization of our sisters in the spaces where we as men would need them would take place.
So what I'll say, and one thing, with the We Are Us, the men, with the sisters coming on, just you guys out there doing the work. You guys are engaging with young ladies and ladies. So I thank God for the leadership team, for all of you guys, just knowing that, hey, we need some sisters to help us out with the young ladies. And it has been a blessing because the We Are Us movement, the men's, as well as the sisters, we are going to rewrite the story about Baltimore City. We know that Fox and other people are telling their story, but from the beginning, when I first started with you guys, and just to see that chapter 1, right now we're probably at chapter 10. Chapter 1 don't look like chapter 10. The beginning don't look like where we are right now. The amount of lives we have saved, the amount of families we have touched, men and women. So one thing that I would say, I thank God for just being able to provide our sisters with the resources that they do need.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited that we also have not made our sisters feel alienated in this work that they have spearheaded. And while we're on the conversation of diversity, Dr. Bunley, Captain Andrew, either one of you guys jump on this, because, traditionally people have kind of elevated the idea that the brothers of the nation don't like anybody that ain't black. And we have literally still been looked at as though we're the black movement. But Dr. Phil Leaf is in the comments, Scott McLean, Bob Bingham. This thing has not just been an ecumenical movement or a movement that diversified to allow our sisters to be a part of it, but there are many brothers who are Caucasian and of other spectrums that are now a part of the We Are Us Men's movement. The diversity, I believe, is necessary in order for us to understand what we have, what we need, and for us to understand what we're really up against and all that it takes to accomplish it. Talk to us about that diversity and how important it is to the movement.
I'm gonna be real brief, and then Doc, you can just finish it up. But I'm gonna mention the diversity because I'm glad you mentioned Dr. Phil. I met Dr. Phil 5 years ago, and I didn't know he was Jewish. And honestly, ever since I met Dr. Phil, and I know he can hear me, I think I talked to Dr. Phil more than I talked to anybody, probably except Dr. Bunley. And he'll tell you. I mean, he emailed me, called me, text me all hours of the day, zoomed out all hours of the day. And I mean, if you put Muslim and Jew beside me and Dr. Phil, and then add, as you said, Pastor Bob, and then add Scott, who's two Christian brothers, white. Come on, man. And I want to echo what you said, Pastor Marvin, and I'll just let Doc take it from here. We have to be diversified in what we do. We understand Baltimore, the murders and the killings and the shootings is really centered around Black people, unfortunately. And it's going to take a Black man to do the work. But there's nothing wrong with having a white Jew, a white Christian, to call him a brother because he believes in God. And it's not even about religion, because we never made it about that. It's about saving life, man. It's about saving life and keeping that focus and that one common goal. And you will learn to love your white brother. You'll learn to love your Christian brother, your Jewish brother through the work. That's how I believe God works. So I just want to say that little piece, Doc, Pastor.
Yeah, like I said earlier, we rather see a sermon than hear one any day. And the white guys who are part of the We Are Us movement, they are sermons of humility. They are sermons of humility in this regard, in that they're not flinching or feeling. I've never seen them flinch or shrink back, because we've said that it's going to require Black men to go reach Black men. And they are humble enough to not get in their feelings about that fact, right? And
family.
As a matter of fact, they turn their energy and their work ethic up even more to help the movement. And so that is, and so if any other individuals, white individuals who want to come and be a part, they don't have to ask about or try to read about. All they got to do is use their eyes and see these white men of humility who are not coming in. And we know history. If you are not a historian, there have been many individuals when we've had movements such as this, where the white folk would try to come and take over out of their arrogance, to think that you can save another group of people. You've never seen anybody outside of the Asian race trying to save Asians or any other group of individuals, right? But we can work together. And these white men who are part of We Are Us, they are demonstrative models as to how you work with Black men who are working with a purpose. And I just thank them for that. I thank Brother Phil. I thank Brother Scott, Brother Bob, Brother, I think it's Andy. I think I call his name wrong, but I thank the white men who have come through. But I also thank the Black men who were very assertive in understanding with some clarity that we're not talking about alienation when we're talking about Black men stepping up and being strong. We're not trying to alienate white folk. We're just saying what it is. And I thank them for not jumping and getting in their feeling and saying that we're trying to exclude, because we're not exclusive. We're just very intentional about what needs to happen. And you can be intentional without being exclusive.
Starting with you, Dr. Rodell Hall, we coming down the stretch. I want you to give us your best 30-second pitch or plea to anybody that's watching now as to why they need to come and be a part of this great life-changing work as we're changing the narrative.
I would like to share with the community, we need Black men to become life coaches. I'm looking for 100 life coaches by the first of the year, because we're getting ready to, God has given me a vision for 1,000 young men that we're going to be mentoring across the city. So I need 100 Black adults to come and be a part of the We Are Us life coaching. but then bring your children to us, because we can, with the help of God, change their lives. There's no way that when we got God in the middle of it, that lives won't be changed. And so we just want you to come and bring your young people and allow us to pour into them.
Pastor Ebony, your best 30-second plea to everybody that's
My
looking
best
to come and
30
be a part of this life-changing work that we're doing.
Dr. Hall said he need 100. I need 200 ladies to come out and help me on Saturdays, come and help my team. It's a whole team of us, beautiful ladies. So come on out, be a part of something that's great, and bring your energy, bring your knowledge, and be a part of a change, because we are going to be that change that our city needs.
I seen Sister Andrika want to shout her out. Sister Donna up here in the comments want to shout them out. Captain Andrew, give us your best 30-second plea to everybody that's watching about coming and being a part of this life-changing work.
Oh, yes, sir. I think that I think unity is the key. And sometimes we get unity and uniformity mixed up, but unity is having one common goal, not the same uniform. So I think if the young men, I think if our people just come and watch what we do, come and talk to some of the pastors, some of the bishops, some of the brothers, the FOI, just find out what's going on, and then make the decision for yourself. Even if you have a church or a mosque or organization, what we're doing is greater and bigger than ourselves. And everybody is sacrificing their church, their families, their monies to make this thing work, because it's not a religion what we're doing, but we're turning it into a way of life, and it's about saving life, and specifically Black life. And we don't want it to hit home and then you come on board or we come on board. We need more leaders, more men and women to help us to promote and push this work. So let's stop focusing on the negative. Let's stop beating each other down. And if you don't know by now that we have an enemy greater than ourselves, then we need to watch, because our people are dying. We're in trouble. And we can't afford to keep, knocking each other in the head because you disagree with me or I disagree with you. It's about unity. So that's it, Pastor. Thank you.
I missed one of my absolute favorite people in the world, Sister Lisa Moloch of Let's Thrive Baltimore. You know I love you, and that wasn't intentional. Dr. Bunley, message, protect, mediate, and connect. The 4 principles of We Are Us Men's movement, and the few that keeps this thing going. Give us your best 30-second plea to everybody that's listening about why they need to connect with this great work.
Yeah, well, just if you care about changing and doing something what is seemingly hard, nowhere in the country are they just saying, listen, not from a program, just saying, listen, we can have Black men not killing Black men and have an intentional focus on that. And I just say, get involved with something that's going to be historic. Get involved with something that's going to be his, because if Black men don't focus on Black men, ain't nobody going to focus on Black men.
I want to thank everybody that's with us tonight. Listen, this has been one of my favorite conversations that we could possibly have. My brother Dewan fell off, but I want to thank him for being with us tonight. But I want to thank my guest, Dr. Rodell Hall, Pastor Ebony, Dr. Andre Bunley, and Captain Andrew Muhammad for being with us tonight. Y'all know what I always say, Baltimore. You have got to trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, and all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. You have got to believe in where you are, be the change that you want to see, and above and beyond anything else, make sure that you remember we can be more. Thank you for joining us tonight.
God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate you.